Welcome friends, welcome back to the kitchen, welcome back to Sunday morning, the Old Cookbook Show. Today we're going to do a recipe out of this wartime cookbook called Ration Recipes by the Robin Hood Flour Mills Company. We're going to do something called Oatmeal Jam Squares. So this cookbook specifically deals with oats, making various things out of oats as meat substitutes, and also in the case of this recipe, desserts. And desserts where you take into account sugar rationing. Having said that, there's 3/4 of a cup of brown sugar in this recipe. So I'm supposed to cream the sugar and butter together. And while that's happening, I'm going to take the flour and add salt and baking soda. And we'll give that a little bit of a mix. So the recipes in this book are designed for rations. They talk about at the beginning of the book how they've designed these recipes to make up for shortages in butter, sugar, and meat, using oats as a substitute. And in the terms of sugar substitutes, they're looking a lot at honey and using less processed sugars like brown sugar. And I thought this one was interesting because it relies on a lot of the sweetness coming from the blueberry jam. And there's a little thing down here at the bottom. There were special rations available for sugar if it was going to be used in preserves. So you could still make your jams and preserve your fruit for the wintertime, I guess. So we're going to be using a wild blueberry jam. This is creamed together nicely. So these are rolled oats, and we're supposed to mix those in. I have a lot of wartime rationing cookbooks in the collection, and I often find it funny that some of the ingredients in these rationing cookbooks would have been easy to get and relatively inexpensive in the time of World War II, but in 2025 are considered luxury products, things that you're not going to get cheaply. Oysters and mussels and that sort of thing. Anyway, here in Toronto, anyway, they're considered sort of luxury goods, lobster, that sort of thing. But this recipe is fairly straightforward, fairly inexpensive, especially if you were making your own jam. Julie and I make our own jam. I never use it on set, though, because I really like it on my toast, and I don't want to use it all in these baked goods, because I just don't make enough of it. So today I'm using wild blueberry jam. It's a pretty good jam. It's just sugar, blueberries, and pectin. There's nothing else in it. So this is the flour mixture. We're going to mix this in. It should get kind of crumbly. Now the recipe tells me to use a 9x12 pan. I don't have any 9x12s. I've got 9x13s, and I decided to end up using this 9x9 so that the layers would be thicker. So I've buttered it, put a parchment sling in. Now we spread about half of the mixture in the bottom of the pan to make a bottom layer. Use your hands, use a spoon, use the bottom of a drinking glass or a coffee cup. However you want to do this. Choose the path that's best for you. Bottom layer looks good. Now, I have a feeling that even though this is about sugar rationing, this recipe is about sugar rationing, this is going to be really sweet. So, wild blueberry compote, jam, whatever you want to call it. I'm going to get a layer in here. Yes, I heated this in the microwave so that it would be a little bit more spreadable. No indication in the recipe about how much I should use. I have a feeling I'm going to use this entire jar. A little bit more. I'm going to save some of this blueberry jam for my breakfast tomorrow morning. Have you seen the recent episodes that we did on English muffins and crumpets? 2 different episodes, 2 different things. I've still got some in the freezer, so I'll toast them up in the morning. Spread this jam on top. It's going to be great. Now, spread the rest of the crumble on top to make another layer. Okay, the instructions say 350 for half an hour. Into the oven it goes.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Sounds good. Hey, friends. Hey, Glen.
Hey, Jules. So, I don't know if we need a fork.
I was going to say, it doesn't, it sounds crunchy enough that,
Fine line between taking these out too early and having the whole thing collapse in a hot, sticky, gooey mess, and not being able to get it out of the pan at all. It's
understood. Understood.
So these are oatmeal jam squares.
Okay.
These scrumptious squares are for special occasion.
Oh, that's today.
Uh-huh.
Hurrah.
Okay.
Because it makes it a special occasion.
Yes.
There we go.
I mean, it's a date square with blueberry jam instead of dates. Staple Canadian.
Slightly flatter. Oh, if you didn't put the crust on the bottom,
Yep.
it would be a crumble.
It would be, yeah, that sort of thing. And so,
Yeah.
this.
I'm not complaining in any way.
Do you want something super that tastes like the cakes you made in pre-ration days? These are great. It could be any jam. It could be any filling.
I should have used a fork.
These will go really quickly, I think. And I think I made the right decision putting it in 9x9 instead of a 9x12.
So there's no eggs.
No eggs. Low on the sugar, and it used brown sugar, so a less refined sugar in that time period, definitely. A lot of the other recipes use honey as the sugar component. These are really good. Thanks for stopping by. See you again soon. Hey everyone, thanks for sticking around to the end. Thanks for watching to the very end of the video, and thanks for watching this next little bit. Once again, in 2025, I am raising money for Hope Air and participating in the Give Hope Wings flight across Canada that both raises funds for the Hope Air charity, but also raises awareness in the various communities that we stop in, and in the wider community through you, that this service exists and that this needs to be met. Hope Air is a charity that allows Canadians who need healthcare that is not available in their community to travel to the larger cities in Canada where that need can be met. Canada geographically is a massive country, and some communities are pretty far flung, and people end up having to drive 12, 14 hours to get to where the treatment exists that they need. And while healthcare in Canada is universal, any Canadian shows up at the door of the hospital, care is freely given. You have to get to the hospital, or you have to get where the treatment is administered. And for a lot of people, this can be a very difficult time in their life. They're juggling a lot of things. They may not have the financial resources to fly to Toronto and put themselves up in a hotel room for a couple of nights and meals and so on and so forth. And Hope Air is a charity that takes care of that, takes that burden away, takes that weight off of people's shoulders, and allows them to just get well. So my part in this is to raise awareness and to raise money. I work with other pilots who fly some of these people who are seeking treatment from smaller flying communities to larger centers like Thunder Bay, where they can get a commercial airliner that will take them to Toronto or Winnipeg, so on and so forth. And over the last couple of years, we've raised a lot of money for Hope Air. Last year alone, you donated around $40,000 to help out with this cause. I'm very grateful for that. I feel very blessed that we have created a community here on YouTube, amongst everything else that's going on in the world, where we can help people. So once again, I'm doing this. Once again, we're flying. I will be putting the itinerary down in the description box of the places we're going to be in early June, where you can stop in and we can meet. Also links to Hope Bear Charity so that you can check them out, see what they do, and if you're moved to help, there will be a link to the fundraising page. For everyone who has given in the past, I thank you enormously, and everyone who is about to give, thank you.